In Borderlands 4, you have 4 Vault Hunters to choose from: Vex, Rafa, Amon, and Harlowe. But which one's for you? Well, in this video we're going to be going over their playstyles and action skills and much more to try and help you decide which one to main. Warning in advance though, it's a very tough decision, as they're all completely badass. So let's kick it all off with Harlowe, the latest Vault Hunter to be revealed, and honestly maybe they saved the best till last. Who am I kidding? I'll change my mind another 40 times by the time I boot it up. Harlowe is a former combat scientist driven with a deep need for knowledge. She uses her intelligence to always innovate and create new tech and gadgets to bring to the fight. She has a real love for life with an enthusiastic outlook on everything, so even when things are going downhill, the vibes are always up. Her playstyle is absolutely mental though. She can manipulate gravity, launch massive chroma accelerators, and freeze packs of enemies with her flux generators. So when it comes to CC, AoE, and utility, she's up there with the best. In her red tree, it's all about the Chroma Accelerator, which is basically launching a massive pocket of unstable energy towards her enemies. She can make this bounce and explode, she can make it pull enemies into it, detonate it, add radiation darts to it, or even make it split into several smaller exploding pockets of energy. This tree is all about buffing or changing the Chroma Accelerator and making it a bit of a problem. Her blue tree is based around 0 Point, which can place enemies in stasis, slam them around, juggle multiple enemies, and even direct her bullets to hit those bubbled up enemies. She can create singularities, freeze or entangle enemies, and deal some bonkers AoE damage at the same time, so it's safe to say it's a lot of fun. Then last but not least, you have the green tree, which plays around the flux generator. This is a pretty heavy utility tree that provides tons of shielding, status effects, and she can move the generator around to keep its value on the battlefield as the fights move on. She can chop and change and enhance it further with elemental resistance shreds, buffing up her allies with more damage, or she can even take the capstone where she spawns Halo sidekicks for her friends that babysit and piggyback them to boost them up even further. So whether you like all that utility from the flux generator, or if you want to launch massive balls of energy at your enemies or juggle them around in stasis, Harlowe is just a ton of fun. From the endlessly optimistic to the purple and pessimistic, next up we have Vex, a new playable siren in Borderlands 4. Vex had a pretty tough upbringing that got even more challenging with her receiving her siren powers. She's cynical and sarcastic, living up to her name, but at heart, she's an empathetic soul. She doesn't mind helping others as long as she can take her frustration out on dickheads along the way. Her playstyle is super versatile with tons of amazing creative ways to express herself in combat. She's got clones with guns or scythes, big purple phase familiars to devour her enemies, and her very own pair of wings to glide in and unleash havoc. In her blue tree, the main overall vibe is buffing up herself and her clones with tons of perks and stats. With these clones, she can spawn Spectre clones with guns to provide some extra artillery, or Reaper clones with huge swinging size to tank and taunt her enemies. She can also boost and empower these clones further, like giving them a copy of her currently equipped gun, or granting those Reaper clones a massive melee AoE ability. She can even go one further and spawn a Grim Reaper clone too, which drains all enemies' health around them. So if you want to summon a squad to overwhelm your enemies in battle, this tree is the way to go. On to the red tree next then, which is all about summoning her phase familiar called Trouble and becoming a tag team of death and purple perfection. She can make her pet even stronger by buffing it up with loads of passives, improving crit and damage, but then it gets even more fancy with blink strikes to make Trouble unleash huge crits, or Hexus Nexus to make it a big beefy tanky charging taunting beast. She can also make him immune to damage with beast mode, or create illusions of it with double Trouble, all showing just how much fun this tree can be. Then finally there's the green tree Vexcalation, and this is the one you want to go for if you aren't here for clones or pets and want to literally fly solo. This one is all about phase explosions and eldritch blasts, and yes, they're as cool as they sound. This tree provides heavy gun damage, AoE and sustain, and later on you can even remove the cooldown on eldritch blast at the cost of HP. Pretty awesome. So if you like summoning an army of minions to do your bidding, or setting up a tag team with her pet Trouble, or if you just want to get your wings out for the lads and blast your enemies to death, Vex has a lot to offer. Next up, we have Rafa. Rafa was born in microgravity, and basically without his exosuit, he simply cannot survive. Luckily though, this is equipped with an arsenal of weapons for him to go absolutely mental as he lives life on the run. He also rolls with a you only live once mentality, or should we say you only live twice.
That is why I live carefree. You know, YOLO, as they say.
Yolt, given your supernatural resurrection.
You know what? Fine. Yolt.
Rafa's playstyle varies around those exosuit weapons, his arm cannon, his shoulder mounted peace breakers, or his melee energy arc knives. So let's start with those arc knives first in his green tree, and if you like that close quarters, psychotic, high risk, high reward gameplay, this one will be up your street. This tree brings loads of creative ways to bolster that melee playstyle without just simply being hack and slash. He can store up all damage taken to boil up and overheat, granting incendiary damage with his attacks. He can fire acidic gliders towards his enemies, and he can turn his dash attack into a caustic leap, leaving hazards wherever he lands. One of my favourites too is where he can create singularities to draw enemies all around him closer to go full send mode with those badass knives. Definitely a tree that I'll be literally diving into a lot on release. Over to his blue tree next then, which is all about his arm cannon, which shoots ordnance blasts towards his enemies. With this tree, he can modify the cannon to gain extra charges, spawn grenades, and amplify its damage and range and speed. But the real fun stuff is in its capstones, where he can completely rebuild it into a close range taser, a full-blown laser that chains through enemies, or even fire corrosive blobs that split into projectiles too. I can already tell there's going to be some seriously oppressive builds with this one, especially with those grenade modules. Then finally we have his red tree, which plays around those peacebreaker cannons on his shoulders. As you would expect, it wouldn't be a Borderlands skill tree without some modifications, and there's a lot of fun to be had here, like sending out firebombs as his enemies, or beam team, which changes the cannons into laser and corrosive beams, or even better, he can turn them into massive shotguns. Another unique mod is the augment, which disconnects those cannons from his shoulders to become a turret companion. So to sum up, if you're a sucker for an arsenal of crazy weapons and modifications and upgrades, Rafa is definitely one you will need to try. Then finally we have Amon the Forge Knight. I mean, look at this dude. Even if you don't know what he does yet, he's hard not to main. So Amon was raised in a vault monster worshipping cult, until they opened the vault and the creature killed everyone he ever knew or loved. So yeah, that went well, didn't it, mate? Well, due to this, his life is dedicated to finding and killing as many of these beasts as possible, and despite that history and that mentality, he's actually still a pretty friendly dude, often telling stories of the adventures along the way. His playstyle is tanking and spanking, leaning pretty heavily into the spanking, and has a wide range of forge skills and weaponized drones to add utility and offensive and defensive power depending on what you spec into. So let's start with the red tree first, which is all about fast-paced, up-close and personal gameplay with the Onslaughter action skill, where he can dash and rocket punch his enemies, blowing them up with incendiary melee damage. This tree encourages a brawl-heavy playstyle where you can boost up the action skill with shields and status effect AoE damage, and even adding lightning waves that shock through chains of enemies. But it doesn't just end with Onslaughter, as he can also wield a massive forge sword with the Stormcutter capstone, making him feel like an absolute raid boss. The green tree offers more of a versatile playstyle that focuses on the elements, enhancing his cryo, shock, or incendiary potency. But more importantly, I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of him with his big sexy duo of fire and ice axes. And this is the tree you want to go for if that's why you've picked it. These giant axes can be thrown towards enemies and picked up to be thrown again, or even modified into hammers that explode enemies' corpses. And with the Blade Tempest augment, he can launch a barrage of forged swords too. Aside from looking badass with this one, there's a ton of ways to improve his damage, crowd control and utility, with frost axes freezing enemies, burning enemies over time with incendiary damage, and sending out surging twinned forge blades shocking all enemies with status effect damage too. Finally, in the blue tree, it's all about his forge shield, and no, it's not just there to soak damage, as it can also send out forge waves through packs of enemies. This skill tree offers plenty of ways for Amon to fulfill that meat shield fantasy, but also bring a lot more to the table than just raw frontline. From massive cryo damage to lobbing his shield at enemies and ricocheting around packs to even using rings of fire. But my personal favourite has gotta be the forge whips with glacial rupture, creating cryonic fissures all over the gaff. So Amon not only looks the part but brings meaty in-your-face gameplay, leading the line for his squad, whether that's with his forge shield, fiery forge fist or forge axes to throw. Overall, there is a ton to sink your teeth into. So there we have it. Hopefully I helped you make your decision of who to main, or maybe I simply made it worse, because honestly this is one of the first Borderlands games where all 4 characters are equally as appealing to me. But either way, whichever one you choose, trust me, you'll be having a ton of fun. We'll be tackling Borderlands 4 head on during its release with a fully fleshed out platform on our website with all the useful stuff you need, like skill trees and builds from all your favourite Borderlands YouTubers. So click the link below to check out our Borderlands 4 hub and let us know what you think. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.